Tonight's program is going to be a little bit of a rant, so fair warning. First of all, let's get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. The red pill is dead. The manosphere is dead. I didn't just say this yesterday. I've been saying this now, as you all know, going on 5 years. Did programs about it years ago when the pandemic first kicked off, while everybody else was talking about it was at the height of its abilities. I was the lone voice telling everyone that no, that was exactly the opposite here. Wasn't very much in vogue and wasn't very much in fashion to be able to do so at the time. As you all know, I've been consistent about that. I've never changed. And what do you know, in 2025, a bunch of other folks now jumping up and claiming that the red pill and manosphere is dead. Well, I put the nails in the coffin there years ago and talked about it then. But we're here to have a little bit of an introspection about this, because you can't fix a problem if you cannot face a problem, and you can't face a problem if you don't even understand the problem. So why is the red pill and the manosphere dead? When did it die? Well, years and years and years ago. First of all, it was built on a inadequate, shoddy foundation to begin with. I spoke about that since day one. I spoke about that since the very beginning, because in reality, it was really set up for guys who had opposing agendas and opposing objectives. The guys on the white side did not actually want black men to be running anything, and the black men who began running it just kind of overwhelmed them by doing everything 10 times better. And then they looked up, and next thing you know, the black guys were running it, and the white guys were trying to catch up. Case in point, that's what happened there. So what happened to the red pill and the manosphere? Well, first of all, Kevin Samuels died. That was the first major thing that happened there. It was already over before then, but it was on life support, pardon the expression, under Kevin Samuels' watch, but it was already very, very much clearly terminally ill and in decline. It couldn't be fixed. There were a few more shekels that could be made by some other artists, but you couldn't fix the damn thing.
Hello, everyone. Shout out to Jason Black. I believe his channel is The Business. I believe he has 2 channels. I think one is The Black Authority, and the one we're watching this video on is The Business. So yeah, definitely shout out to Jason Black. I got a lot of respect for Jason Black. I don't always agree with everything he says, but first of all, like today, let me just say what today is. Today, I think I'd say today I'm reintroducing myself. I'm reintroducing myself to this platform. When I started, I was just fiddling around just to see, what this YouTube thing was all about. This was, man, how long ago was this? This was a long time ago. This was probably like 7 years ago. YouTube was quite different then. And I tried it out. I did some things. But the thing that I liked the most is that the people who I gravitated to and the community that we built on YouTube was based on things I was interested on, right? And let me just keep it 100% real. The topic of women was what really brought me to YouTube. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna act like I was watching car race videos or I was really interested in the topic of relationships and men and women and how men and women get along. And I found that a lot of the things that I seen, a lot of other brothers seen from other areas, like people in the States, you got people in Africa, all kinds, people from all different parts of the world that had similar opinions about the relationships between men and women. Obviously, in the West, Canada, I'm in Canada right now. America is the most. That's where it started, feminism. We're not going to do look, like I said, I'm reintroducing myself. A lot of things we're going to put on the table. We're going to dissect them. We're going to go through facts. We're not just going to, this is not an opinion-based channel. Let me say that. This channel will be based on facts, right? So when we get together and we have a topic, before the end of the show, we want to come up with some answers that the majority will agree on. We want at least a good 80%. right? 90 is tough. I'd love to reach 90% agreeableness. If everybody could agree on a topic, then we could move forward to the next one, right? Or the majority of us. But let me bring it back a bit. So let me say this. Shout out to the producer of this, who's going to be doing all the work behind the scenes. I told him I was 100% ready. I think he thinks I was writing out notes. I was going to do it. And I will be doing a lot of notes and taking down a lot of stuff, a lot of information for more serious topics. Like I said, I'm just reintroducing myself. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to do it raw, right? Something that always stood out to me is, something in the Bible that was like, when your words are directed by God, you should be able to speak fluently, right? So I should be able to do this and just speak from the heart. I shouldn't have to write these things down for this particular video, for my reintroduction. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna let the spirit talk. I'm gonna let the spirit go through it. So okay, so we got to this video. I had to find a topic pretty much on the fly. The topic that's most important to me is the red pill, right? I spoke about this many times. The movie. There's two things when I think about red pill. If you ask me, there's two things that come to mind. I don't know if you know about the Zeitgeist documentary. There was a documentary called Zeitgeist, which spoke a lot about religion and the government. A friend of mine, I think I was chilling out at one of my friend's house, and another friend came by, brought the video, and I think this was around 2007 or something like that. And the video pretty much spoke about everything: the school systems, the money system, and that's where my journey began. Of like, I guess that's where you would say, when you think about the movie The Matrix, the first time Neo was taken into that world, right? After there was an option, remember Morpheus said, I'll give you the choice between the blue and the red, because you've seen something already, right? You've seen something already. We showed you something already. But if you want to, I'll give you the chance. You take this blue pill and you'll forget about what I showed you and you'll go back to normal, right? So the blue pill is not just being ignorant, right? Because Neo wasn't ignorant. What he said when he took the blue pill was for him to forget whatever he had just seen, right? So it's like, okay, fine. Yeah, we gave you a peek into the real world and how things really work. Do you want to continue down that journey? You take the red pill. And that's another thing that when I think about the red pill, do you want to, like, let's say when I watched that Zeitgeist documentary, right? If I wanted to, I could have went on with my life, right? But what I did was I dug deeper into like the things that was spoken about in that documentary. And the thing is, if you know something is true when you try to find facts that go against it, and it's hard, you can't do it. Like everything is pointing in the same direction. That's how you could solidify something as being true or a fact. Or that's a way you could help, is when everything's pointing in the same direction. There's no contradictions to any of the information that's being put out. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of things were consistent. And what else was it? So yeah, and then the Matrix movie. Which brings us back to the red pill and the blue pill. The Matrix movie, when I watched that movie, it had nothing to do with YouTube or women or relationships. That movie was pretty deep. That was one of the deepest movies. I think my favorite movie would be Terminator 2, but definitely I'd say The Matrix was my second favorite. And it ties in with the Zeitgeist, because it's like, you always know that there's something, you always feel like there's something you're not being told, right? And then it's like, once you get that information and just like, it confirms that there was information out there that you need to know. Like I said, some people will continue through that journey. Some people will take the red pill ignorantly and then regret it, right? Because it's a lot of information. It's a lot to know. Sometimes it's hard. It's tough knowing certain things. Like let me give you an example. And the most recent example today at work. Someone was one of these my coworkers skipping along, just skipping down the aisle, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, man, like I'm like these things confirm that this is just not. I'm not in the right place because some people are. Sometimes it's good to be ignorant. You could be happy. You could be skipping like my coworker, right? Sometimes it's stressful. It's stress knowing certain things, right? It is. It is. So this brings us to the topic of whether the red pill is dead or not. Like, and this is the problem. Like when we come up with acronyms, like let's say you got red pill, then you got MGTOW. You got MGTOW, which is men going their own way, right? Why does it have to be when you just when you say a man going his own way? Why not just take it for what it is, right? If I say I'm going my own way, let's say, for example, we put it in terms of how things are going today in society. Men should be wanting to do things their way, right? So if I'm going my own way, it doesn't mean I'm gonna go run off into the bushes somewhere and hide. No, I want to live life based on what I feel is right and wrong, based on my morals and principles, and not what society says I should be doing. That's what MGTOW should be about. And red pill should be what, like, red pill came from that part in the Matrix when Morpheus offered Neo the blue pill to forget about what they showed him, the information they had showed him already. He would take the blue pill and forget about that, or he would take the red pill and continue on his journey. Why can't it just be about that? The reason why red pill, and I'm not going to say it's dead. I don't think it's dead. I think it is ill. And he did mention that. Shout out to Jason Black again. He did mention that the red pill it was ill. He said the red pill was sick and it died, right? He said it died with Kevin Samuels. Now, like I said, if that's the case, right, and it's not dead, but I think it is sick, and I'm gonna help bring it back. I'm gonna put on my shoulders and try to help bring back. First of all, the red pill, MGTOW, and Ibmore, introspective Black men of reform, right? And if I tell you red pill, it comes from, I'll tell you, watch the movie Matrix. You'll understand what red pill is. If I say I'm MGTOW, I'm a man going my own way, that means I'm doing shit my way. I'm doing the shit the way I want to do it. It has nothing to do with women and what women do. There's that's a part of it, right? Women make up a big part of how I live my life, right? Women are important, right? You got currency. The top three things that would probably be the most important to a man is currency, his women, and his lineage, right? Which is his kids, right? That is something a man is more likely going to be concerned about. So I'm not going to act like I like I said, what brought me to YouTube was the topic of women in relationships. So I have learned a lot, but that's like a program, right? And think about the Matrix, this woman in the red dress. That was just one small part in the movie. There's so much other things going on, so much other important factors, and that's what I think the problem is with red pill is it is too centered around women and relationships. Red pill is way too big. The idea of red pill is way bigger than that, right? When you think about it, if Neo needed to know something, the thing of him being red pill, right, and gathering information, he could upload information, right? They'd plug this thing in his head, and they just upload information, or they download information. Then he'd actually have to, like, when he was learning how to fight, right? They'd upload it, then he'd learn, so that's the way I look at it. Like, we have to know about. We should be red pilled in terms of the economy. We should be red pilled in terms of the government. We should be red pilled in terms of women in relationships. We should be red pilled in terms of how to raise our kids, the best ways to raise our kids. We should be red pilled when it comes to how we eat, our health, right? There's so many things, and that's the most unfortunate thing about red pill to me, is that when people think about red pill, they think of a bunch of guys who talk about, women and their characteristics and women's nature, which, like I said, that's a great